Hey everyone, this is Dr. Leslie Allen with the Center for Holistic Healing, and I am here with Katie. And so, Katie is one of my amazing clients from my functional medicine program. She has gone through the program, had the most amazing results. She's had the biggest drop in symptoms. So, we track symptoms throughout our program via a tool called a medical symptom questionnaire, and she has had the most significant drop of any of my clients that have come through the program, which is really outstanding. So just to give you a reference point, she started at 189, which is pretty involved. Her health was pretty involved whenever we got started. And at graduation, she is now at 27, which is huge. So, Katie, thank you so much for being here and for being brave enough to share your story with others. I think it's really important for the rest of the world to be able to hear other people's experience and really being brave enough to kind of step outside of the norm and switch things up and do things differently. So I'm going to turn it over to you. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your health struggles and challenges that you were having when you first got started in the program?
Well, yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm 42 years old right now.
Hmm.
I could take you all the way back to where I was 5 years old and I was exposed to a broken thermometer and I ended up touching the mercury that was inside of it. But pretty much my entire life, I was sick somehow. Infections, vertigo, numb hands and feet, all kinds of stuff. When I was 26, I lost the vision in one of my eyes. And the testing that I had to do through MRI and a spinal tap was that I have multiple sclerosis. For 10 years, I dealt with it. I dealt with it, and I was doing okay relatively. I went down to part-time job, and that was only sometimes that I worked. Sometimes I didn't have a job at all. But about 4 years ago, uh, I had a pretty big spike in anxiety and a lot of tension and everything in the muscles and in my shoulders and neck. And I would get off balance and dizzy a lot, but of course, you can connect that very easily with MS. But it happened for a couple of years, and the past 2 years, it got pretty bad. And the neurologist had then diagnosed me with what's called cervical dystonia. It's just uncontrollable, um, basically spasms. So I had to get put on a muscle relaxer and Botox injections every couple of months. Did okay with that for a couple months. Then some really weird non-neurological things started happening. We were testing for diabetes because a lot of it was me being faint all the time. I didn't feel good. Again, with the balance issues, I couldn't eat anything. Like every time I wasn't hungry, first of all, and then when I would make myself eat, then I would feel sick. I ended up in the ER at one point in time. I was supposed to be fasting for a test and got so sick I had to go into the ER. The doctor there said that he thought it was diabetes 1.5, which isn't even a real thing. He said it's not diabetes, it's just you have the symptoms of it. No explanation of why
Hmm.
or what I was supposed to really do about it. So, I mean, at that point in time was my rock bottom. I gave up. I was like, I've tried everything that I know how. My primary doctor pretty much got to the point to where he said, I'm making it up. It's all in my head. He kept telling me it's all in my head. So yeah,
That's
I pretty much,
frustrating and really hard to hear, especially when you know that your symptoms are real and you feel it on a day to day.
yeah. And he just kept trying to put the antidepressants on me, thinking that's
Hmm.
what it was depression, and that was making all this stuff happen. And I would have horrible reactions to the ones that he put me on. So I was like, no, you know. But yeah, at that point in time, it was just like there's nothing left for me to do. Well,
Right.
I guess ironically. Now, it's a God thing, I think, that I came across Leslie's Facebook page, and it was on her video on overcoming autoimmunity. And, the whole thing completely is, scientifically based. I do actually have a little bit of college medical background. So I know that what she was saying was right. And then I was like, well, I'm curious. I'm going to go and see what that's about. And so I looked at a lot of more of her videos, and I'm like, yeah, this spot on. This is right, Then I started thinking about going holistically in my own area. Their prices were ridiculous. And Leslie was like, free consultation. So I'm like, all right, let's, what's it gonna hurt? Can't get any worse than where I was at then. So I jumped right in, got a consultation, and we jumped right on board.
Yes. So next up is, let's actually talk about your progress through the program. I think that, one of the biggest questions that I get asked is, the program is a certain period of time, and for those of you that aren't aware, we do group calls within our program, a weekly group call. And so everyone kind of gets to know everyone and hear everybody's story. And so for you, and I always try to make sure that I'm 100% transparent about this when I am talking to people, because you were so highly involved. Your progress, I want you to share a little bit about your progress, but it wasn't this like perfect little healing journey. We don't just like poof, like it just magically happened. And it took a lot of perseverance, dedication. But I want to hear, so first of all, when did you start to notice progress and changes? Because that happened pretty early, right?
It did. It happened in 2 weeks. And this was when we completely started. I think I had just gotten my supplements at that point in time, but the basic supplements that you had given me to get, and it was just changing the diet, the elimination diet. So when I started that, it was within 2 weeks. It was like night and day, amazing. Um, and that was totally awesome. So we started healing my gut first, and that takes a while in itself, but it was happening, and you could feel it, and it was amazing. And then what we did about a month after was we started the chelation, because my test results definitely showed a lot of cell damage done because of that, my history, because of being exposed to the heavy metals.
Right. So specifically the mitochondrial damage. So we were able, with the testing, we were able to just, it made things very clear of where the issues were coming from. But it was quite the process of pulling you from the dark side.
I was really scared to do it too. It's a scary thought, a scary thing to have to go through, ripping heavy metals out of your body, if it's not done correctly. If I would have went into a hospital, there is potential that you could die from the way that they do it, So it was scary, but the way that I was doing it is all natural and it's safe. And, it really did not affect me the way that I was expecting it to. So, I did tough it out. I toughed through it, but that entire month that I was taking that treatment, I ended up having to have my mom come and stay with me to help take care of me and my family, because it was overwhelming for me. And yes,
Right.
it did. It wore me out for sure.
Spiked a lot of your other symptoms, because that was her concordant, or that underlying root cause. And so we essentially, made sure that all of your other pathways were functioning efficiently before we started that process. So it took a little bit of some time to get you to the point where you could physically handle it, but even at that point it was, and just to let you all know, not everybody has to go through this process. So I don't torture the majority of my clients, only Katie.
I'm specialized.
But no, it was kind of the necessary evil, though, that we had to knock that out eventually.
Yes, I had to do it for sure. I had to get it out of my body. So I knew I had to do it. And I think that it was more of what I was overwhelmed more by was my anxiety went up at that point in time. It was huge. And, according to it's a very thorough diagnostic, testing that they do. And my cortisol, which would spike in the mornings especially, and then slowly go down. It was hard for me to detox the stress hormone. So, it would go away, but it was slow all during the day. So it was almost like anxiety was like almost always there, except in the evenings. So we when I came across that problem, we worked on it. I told you about it. We have a solution to fix that. And, and it wasn't just through supplements, it's mental too, it's
really
teaching you breathing exercises and meditation and all these other different ways to manage stress,
Right. So Katie, I'm gonna pause you just right there because I do want to get to a few other things. But during those darkest times, did you feel supported?
Oh, yes. I don't know that I could have found any more support. And it wasn't just because my mom came and took care of us,
Right.
It was, I sent you a couple chat messages and you're like, let's take it down. I spiral. That's what you call it. I stop spiraling. This is where we're at and this is what we're going to do. Give yourself some grace is what always went through my head. You always said, give yourself some grace. And I have to keep telling myself, even to this day, give yourself some grace.
And you always will, because it's just a natural, it's an innate characteristic. And that's the thing I think that we try to bring to our attention is that until we start to recognize our tendencies and what drives our body's kind of dishealth that occurs because of our tendencies, until we start to take a step back and say, hey, how are my reactions to things driving this process as well? So really taking it to the highest level, and so that way we could start to change those type of behaviors, and that that conversation that you're having with yourself throughout the day, really making that mindset shift was really important. So share with us what your biggest victories, how do you feel today?
I feel amazing. I feel like a brand new person. Seriously. I mean, I couldn't even say that any other way or any better. I am a brand new person, and I honestly feel like if I did not get this help, I can't even imagine where I would be. I don't even know, honestly, if I'd be alive. I don't know how awful things really were inside of me.
Right.
But my biggest victories, other than being mental, I mean, it's a huge, huge spiritual, mental, emotional thing that I went through that I came so far on the other side of the rainbow, it's amazing.
Right.
But I am now, this is second nature that I'm able to make meals for my family, which I could not do before. Just standing up, I felt so faint and yucky and no energy at all that I couldn't even make meals.
That was one of your biggest things that you told me on our very first call. Never forget, you said, my husband, he has to work all day and then he has to come home and fix dinner, and
he would serve it to me in my bed, by the way, because I was like bedridden, I couldn't even get myself up out of bed. Yeah. So he would come and bring me food in my bed, And I have a kid too, you know, I have a,
Right.
and not only do I have a child, he's 8, but he has special needs.
Right.
So my husband had to take care of all of that too. So I mean, yeah, these are huge things that I was missing out on my life, you know, my own family in my own home. You know, if my son wanted to see me, he came into my bedroom. So I mean, this is the huge victory, is that that's all over, you know.
Yes.
I'm cooking meals, I am doing so much more stuff with my family. I'm going out now and doing stuff, which was also another issue that I had, is going out and enjoying life outside of these doors. And um, yeah, I was not able to drive for a long time, and I just started going out and driving again.
That
um,
is one of our biggest goals.
that was one of my big goals.
That was one of our
Um,
biggest. Yeah. We had lots of goals, but that was like that's like the kind of the cream of the crop goal. It was like, I'm just going to put that there. And if I could get back to that, that would be huge.
yes, and it is huge. So that, yeah, that happened. So
That's
I mean, yeah,
wonderful.
it took time, and I think that you had said before and asked before about, you know, there being only a certain time restraint for this program. That is totally not the case. And that it sprung my anxiety up a little too, because I was like, okay, at this point in time, I've only got 2 weeks left to completely heal myself. You know, no, and that's where you're like, no, no.
Just stay focused on your daily actions and we will get the results. Keep doing the work, we'll get the results.
Yes,
So tell me, do you feel confident moving forward without
yes,
me?
yes,
And
yes.
and
I
and
mean, I have a
two,
plan. Yeah,
there's you're still so connected to me even after the program, right? I mean, you know
yes,
how to get in touch with me.
yes, yeah. It's not totally like you're. This is your plan. Here, scoot off. Bye. Good luck. That is so totally not the case. You're always going to be there. You know, of course, I get to take the reins now. We have a plan set for, you know, for my recovery when I feel like I'm very close to being 100%, you know, and
Mhm.
then just maintenance of what you're supposed to do, you know, what you're supposed to take, and you know, going through a diet every once in a while, you know, a detox every once in a while. All of the stuff I have a plan for. So I mean, I absolutely
And you've
am.
practiced all the interventions and all the healthy lifestyle strategies so many times, and you still have access, right? I mean, with the
Yes,
online learning portion, it's like you can always flip back if your sleep routine gets off a schedule. I know mine is with the full moon. I'm
yes,
like a
yes.
werewolf right now.
Time
But
change,
we have to
yes.
go back, the time change. We just have to go back to the basics, and you have all of that information to pull out to access that in order to help guide you. Well, thank you
Yeah,
so much, Katie. I really, really appreciate you sharing your story and being so honest about things, because I think the biggest takeaway from Katie's experience is that it wasn't a perfect healing process, and it had to go in a very segmental fashion, and she got a lot better. But I knew that when we did start to heal her mitochondria, that it would get a little rocky, and that it did. But at I also knew, and I also had reminded her and all of my clients on a regular basis, have faith and never lose hope that your body has the capability of healing. Because as long as you have that faith and that hope, then you can continue to push forward during those dark times. And it really, these are 100% Katie's results, because she's the one that during those hardest times, instead of throwing the towel in, she kept working, and she kept, pushing. She kept asking for help and not giving up, and we would make minor tweaks Maybe we need to back off a day and push fluids. You know, maybe you just need to go sit outside. Maybe you need to laugh. You know, I mean, we did a lot of everything. But anyhow, I really, really appreciate you sharing your story. I hope those of you out there have gained some wonderful nuggets from her story. And if any of you are seeking the kind of results that Katie was able to achieve, feel free to head over to our website, the Center for Holistic Healing.com. There you can find the link for a breakthrough call. You just click on that link and we will get you scheduled for a free consultation to see if you're a right fit. All right, I hope everyone has a great day. Thank you so much.